Hey there, my name's Andy Stoddard. I'm a husband, I'm a father, a pastor, a friend, an extreme extrovert, a huge sci-fi fan from Star Wars to Doctor Who. I love people. I love making connections. I love the connection that I get to find with others through ministry and through these shared activities. And I'm excited to get to talk with you right now. Many of you have connected with me through social media and through YouTube and through other ways these last few weeks. You've gotten to see a lot of my backyard. I've spent more time back here in the last few weeks than I have the last few years, and so I'm assuming you have as well. So we find ourselves here in the midst of the coronavirus, in the midst of this pandemic, and we're all hoping and looking forward to and getting ready for life to return to normal, whatever that means. We are all longing for normalcy. And I know that as I think about when life returns to normal, one of the things that I'm thinking about is this. I don't know that I want life to be just normal again. I know that when I return to outside this backyard, that I want to be different. And I want to live out a difference for Jesus. I want to make a difference for Jesus every day in new and unique ways. I've been blessed in my life to have made a lot of friends across the state, across the region, across the nation, across the world. Individuals, men and women, that are making a difference for Jesus every day of their life. And they're making a difference for Jesus because Jesus has made a difference in their lives. Some of these friends are clergy and preachers, others are not. But every one of these people are guided by that overwhelming conviction of God's grace and the difference that Christ has made for them in the way they want to make a difference for others. So welcome to The Difference. In these videos, we're going to be sharing some conversations. I've thought about reaching out to my friends and just having conversations, usually through Zoom, and talking with them about where they find themselves, how they've made the decision to live their life a little different, and what they have seen God do in their life through that difference, and how that difference is making a difference in others' lives. I don't know about you, but I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for God's grace and God's love and for Jesus Christ every day of my life. So join us for these conversations as we see how Jesus made a difference in others and how we, through his grace, can make a difference in others' lives as well. Welcome to The Difference. Well, hey there. This is Andy. I don't actually have a cute name for what this is going to be. This is the premiere, or maybe the only episode of these conversations. Many of you know me. I am pleased to be having a Zoom conversation with my friend Greg Hazelrig. Greg is the pastor. What are the churches you serve, Greg? Remind me where you're at.
I'm at Pleasant Hill up in DeSoto County, up around Olive Branch, and at Baker's Chapel, which is just outside of Hernando.
That's right. I remember Baker's Chapel, but I couldn't remember Pleasant Hill. Greg and I have been friends for a long, back when we were both young. And Greg had hair and mine was not great. Greg and I went to seminary together, have served together in ministry for seriously about 20 years now, I guess. I mean, if you do the math.
Yeah.
Did you start seminary in 99? When did you start?
Started seminary and started, I'm trying to do math here,
21
years.
Yeah. Yeah, 21 years. Isn't that crazy? 21 years. And we're still in our mid-20s, right?
Yeah. I'm pulling through every day.
Seriously, exactly. But Greg and I, like I said, we know each other forever. And Greg has served. Where all of you served? You served all over the state. Where all of you served?
Well, I haven't served the South part, but
yeah, if not, well, yeah, okay, you have been to South Part. Okay.
I started.
Well, I got to get you down to Boca Chica then.
I started in Mount Pleasant in Marshall County when we were going to seminary. That was close to seminary. Then I went to the Delta. I had two churches, Glen Allen and Avon. That was around the Greenville area when you were at
Boyle. Yeah. I still tell the story sometimes about the lady that helped you get the groceries out of your trunk that one time. Remember that? Hey, preacher, you left something in the trunk? Yeah. I still tell that story.
Yeah, she was checking me out. then I went to Vicksburg, then over to Pearl, and then up here. So I've been up here.
How long have you been there in the Memphis area? How long have you been there?
7 years, going on 7 years this June. Which this is home for me. I grew up in West Tennessee, so.
I couldn't remember if you grew up in Tennessee. I knew you were from the Memphis area, but I couldn't remember if you were from Tennessee or from Mississippi originally.
Yeah, I had an apartment, and my fiance had a house in Olive Branch, so I'd say I'm married into Mississippi.
Well, there you go. Congratulations. We're glad to have you. So, but I remember when we were in seminary, you always had a passion for missions. I remember that. You've always, and didn't you at one point, am I making this up? Did you at one point even think about transferring to the Nicaragua conference, or am I making that up? Do you remember that?
We went on a trip to Nicaragua, had a couple friends that are missionaries over there, and we spent a couple trips down there, and Michelle and I, my wife Michelle, for everybody, Michelle and I, we talked about becoming missionaries, talked to the DS at the time, and basically found out we were too old.
That was a long time ago now. They won't even let you in the country.
We're afraid you won't make the flight over.
That's right.
That wasn't in the cards anyway. That's not what God wanted. But yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
So I've always admired your heart for others. Greg and I, we had a joke. I think Keith may have been, probably not Keith. He probably wasn't involved in this joke. Keith Keaton. We used to always joke that our answer to everything was, "I just love Jesus." I mean, that was kind of our default statement. I just love Jesus. You know?
Yeah, that was you who say that. I actually made a sermon series out of that because of like 3 different churches too.
But I've so admired Greg and his heart for people. And those of you in North Mississippi, you're familiar with the great work that Greg is doing in his not only in his local churches, but the great work he's doing in the Memphis downtown area. So, Greg, would you tell the folks watching kind of what did do we have company?
No, I'm saying my head's gonna fit through that door once you.
I try to get. Well, don't worry. Just get some grease and grease it up, and you'll be fine. But would you share with the folks kind of tell us about exactly what it is you do in Memphis weekly, and just tell us about that.
All right. Well, we go Tuesday nights. We go to Little Caesars Pizza and buy pizza because it's $5 pizza, cheapest pizza, and we go downtown Memphis.
Where at in downtown?
Well, if you're familiar with Memphis, kind of where you're familiar with the jail, aren't you?
Yeah.
There,
I've been in the Memphis jail many years. Yes. Yeah.
No.
That's where Holly and I met. So.
Somewhere between the jail and Beale Street, that general area, and we go down there every Tuesday night. We have pizza and water, and most times we got something else. We got the Olive Branch Food Pantry helps us out a lot. They get overflow from Kroger and Walmart, and they'll have vegetables and fruit and more than they can give out because they take Kroger gives all the stuff that's about to go bad, and so we'll get a case or two of oranges or bananas. We tried taking apples, found out people couldn't eat them because they didn't have any teeth. What people had they could use. But we go every Tuesday night. We started this actually with the first winter I was up here. So we started this in December as a coat drive.
7 years ago?
Yeah, well,
really? Wow.
It was my first year here, I guess 7 years this December.
Okay.
It was 6 years ago December. So we took up some coats. We thought we were going to take them to the Union Mission, the homeless shelter, and before we did that, had a couple friends call that were actually in my first church, and said that they were going downtown and they were bringing some pizza. They bought about 4 or 5 pizzas, and sometimes they bought Wendy's chili. And so we decided we'd tag along with them. They let us tag along. We gave out our coats, and then after that, we just kind of tagged along for a little bit. And then they stopped. By that time, we had a third wheel, you might say. There's a guy from our church, and then a fourth wheel. We had 4 of us would go out and we'd buy 6 pizzas out of our own money, out of our own pockets, and we would drive around just looking for people. And now that started from there, and it's gone to today. Well, let's just say before the coronavirus, and after the coronavirus. Before the coronavirus, we were bringing we had about 3 vehicles every week.
Oh, wow.
So about anywhere from 12 to, let's see, to 16 people.
Wow.
And then there would be, sometimes we'd have visitors come, 4. We finally started telling them, please, no more than 4 at a time.
Mm.
But we were having.
No more than 4 visitors at a time, or?
Yeah, we were having lots of folks show up. We'd have more people. It'd actually be overwhelming a little bit. But from just looking for people, now we got basically a route, different places we go, and we've got people waiting on us. And so, we know where we're going, we know where we'll find people. And then we still try to, from time to time, take another side street or this or that, just to, see if we can't find some new places. Some of the places we used to go, we've stopped going and we found other places to go. So, kind of that thing. We in the summers, we'll feed over 100 folks.
Wow.
And we give a couple pieces of pizza and water, and then, like I said, we'd have snacks or fruit or people donated lots of different things. And we'd serve over 100 people in the summer. And then in the winters, it would go down to about, 40 or 50 because people go in the shelters. But this year, it didn't really go down that much. We served about 80, 60 to 80, 90. And
this
now,
is during the kind of teeth of winter, during the January when it's the coldest.
Yeah, I mean, and we bring people donate, and we've gotten blankets, sleeping bags, stuff like that. So we bring that stuff. Now the change has been only 3 of us are allowed to go. We won't let him.
Okay, just after the coronavirus has started. Yeah. Okay.
So there's only, of course, we have youth that go.
Sure.
And these youth, their parents wouldn't let them go anyway, but we told them, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But we've got the owner of Crystals in South Haven has started donating some crystals since this has happened, because she read, this, I write something every Tuesday night when we get home on Facebook about what happened. Well, she read that we ran out of pizza one night and had to go to McDonald's. So she said, if you get some hamburgers, you're going to come and I'm going to give them to you.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Here lately, we've gotten 24 pizzas and 96 crystals.
Oh, wow.
And instead of getting out 2, we give out 3, because the reason being is they used to get burritos on Tuesday nights as well. One burrito wasn't huge or anything. So our, between the burrito and our pizzas, they would be taken care of. The burritos have gone away right now because the church that was doing it, they didn't have a way to do it safely.
Sure.
So now we're the only ones that they're feeding. So we're getting them 3 pieces of pizza.
Sure.
Now what we're doing is we're taking Ziploc bags. We're putting the pizza in the Ziploc bags.
Okay.
We get another Ziploc bag and put water and snacks, because people are still donating stuff like snack stuff. And so basically they got 2 Ziploc bags, and we hand them out. Of course, we're wearing gloves and masks. We're lucky. We got a couple of those N95 or whatever those.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, we wear gloves, and we wear these masks, and we hand them to them, and when there's a big group, we try to get them to stay at least 6 feet apart. So for one reason, because we don't want the police to come and break us up.
Sure, break you up. Sure. Yeah.
By the way, let me just give a shout out to the police in Memphis. Police get a bad rap a lot of times. They've been nothing but good to us, and they have stopped at times and thanked us and all kinds of stuff. So, but anyway, I'm getting off track. What was it? Okay, we'll give them two bags now, and we've been the last couple of 3 weeks that the pizzas and the crystals have equaled up to, what did we say it was? It was 88. We actually fed 91 people this past week, but the last few only got snacks. And we could feed more, but if we traveled to some other places, but I mean, that's all we got. This week we're going to get 26 pizzas, get a couple more pizzas, and see how that works. But right now, our big stop, I mean, they've just come out of the woodwork because they don't have anything to eat, and they're, a lot of people, would try to go to the mission, but a lot of times they can't go because it costs $6 to get in.
Oh, really? It costs to get to the mission?
Yeah,
Wow.
they 4 nights free.
Yeah.
4 nights free, and then if it's going to be below freezing, below 32 degrees, it's free to get in. So you get 4 nights free, and then it's $6. And some of them can't do that.
Yeah, if you're homeless, if you're not working, then $6 is a hurdle you might be able to come up and jump over. So,
And some of them, even if they have it, they're not going to go. And you got to think about it. That you
sure.
Right now, just especially right now, I wouldn't want to go. You
Yeah,
got to
sure.
build all these people.
Yeah.
You're talking about supposed to be less than 10 people. That's a lot of folks in that.
That's
one
right. Well, that's something that I know that I've been really concerned about and praying about is some things you hear about the coronavirus is it's really ravaging the prisons, the homeless populations, nursing homes. I mean, are you kind of sensing that there in Memphis, that there's that pervasive fear in that community?
I see from some. Now, first of all, I don't know of any personally,
Sure.
any homeless folks
Sure.
who have gotten it. Okay. Not saying that there's somebody who's gotten it and we just haven't seen and nobody's
Sure.
told me. But there are some that just walk around and do whatever. But a lot of them are wearing face masks now. We actually, I was lucky. I had a guy bring me a box that actually came from Uncor from way back when.
Oh, wow.
Here at this church at Pleasant Hill, they had this box and it had all these face masks. We used to put in those, they call it something different now, but flood buckets.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. I know they call it like cleaning buckets or something. Yeah.
They made a lot of changes. So they had a lot of those face masks that we used to buy and put in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I remember buying those all the time for flood buckets. Yeah.
We had a bunch of those. And so we've been putting them in our Ziploc bags. Now we're almost out now, but we go out and we'll see people wearing them. So,
You mentioned earlier that when you first started, you were buying the pizzas out of your own pocket. How are you? I mean, so you said 20 some odd pizzas this week. How was that? How's that happening?
Well, as it grew, of course, all of this, I praise God. God just, God called me to this.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that happens, I know God is making it happen. But, when we first started, it was, we're buying a few pizzas. Luckily, one of the guys that goes with us, he just likes spending money on people. Then some folk, as it got, I would post on Facebook, and that's really all I did was post on Facebook, and people started hearing about it.
Yeah.
I got 2 churches at the time that started giving us $200 a month. Now, churches, it was a year thing. But another church, shout out to Love United Methodist Church, Chuck Bursa. I don't know if you know Chuck.
I know the name, yeah.
And, it's a church that has, I don't know, maybe 25, 50 people there.
Yeah.
And they give us $200 a month. It's every month.
Wow.
And so that was started. And then some people, started just donating some money here and there. And like I said, it's gotten so big now. We were at Baker's Chapel, and it was just a Baker's Chapel homeless ministry.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've got people regularly going from Batesville to Pleasant Hill, Baker's Chapel, the Well in Lewisburg. They're coming from our regulars come from various churches. So it got to be some of the money coming in got to be a little bit more than, and we needed to have people know that we were. I trust our church. Our church was going to be fine.
Yeah.
But we wanted accountability for people to see accountability. So now it's actually a district ministry.
Wow.
And we changed when we made a district ministry. We called it Matthew 25 Ministries. And so all the money goes to our district now. And of course, that's audited twice a year.
Sure.
So
That's great.
so that way we can tell people that, so they know that everything's on the up and up.
So if somebody was watching this, they could just send a check to the Senatobia district, and they could get Matthew 25 Ministries. You said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send it to Senatobia District, Matthew 25 on the little memo line.
Okay. Something I really wanted to talk to you about, Greg, is like I said, once again, give me the big hit on this one. But I mean, I look forward every Tuesday night to seeing what you're doing. I try to share these posts with my friends to let people know what you're doing. Holly and I pray for you, and we support you, and we're thankful for you. But how did you've always had this calling it makes me so happy to see you serving God in this way, and to see you God using you in so many ways. It must have been terrifying to take this leap to do this. And then I guess I want people to hear, because a lot of people right now are at really critical junctures in life where they may feel a calling by God for something, or their life may be upended with this coronavirus, and they're feeling called by God to maybe leave behind something and start something new, or they feel this call to God to be obedient, but they're worried about what people are going to say, or they're worried about their career, or they're worried about all these things. And I'm serious. I mean, I believe so many of us in ministry look at the great work you're doing and say, you're doing so much for the kingdom in ways that we feel like we aren't. And we're just, how have you gotten to that point where you just said, I'm doing this, I have this call and I'm doing it?
Okay, first of all, I do want to point this out. I mean, I appreciate all you're saying and stuff, but let me point this out, that our group, it's not just me. They're the group that goes, there's a core group, and they go every week. And the 3 that are going now, I mean, they are very faithful. So it's not just me. It is, I mean, like I said, we grew, and there's a group of folks that are just totally devoted. Just want to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when the coronavirus, when all this stuff first started happening, and the week that we were not supposed to meet, actually way back when the governor said on a Saturday, and we met that next Sunday,
yeah.
But it was the next week we quit. And I told my church, this was in general, not about the ministry, but this was in general. I said, look, my message to them was, God's in this, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. But then I would also say, don't be stupid. I'm gonna tell everybody what I told you earlier. I stole something that you said in one of your videos, where you said, don't be stupid. If you go around licking doorknobs, don't do that during this time. Anyway, if God's going to take care of us in this, but we got to be smart as well. Like I said, when we go, we are masked. We are, I bet I put on more hand sanitizer on Tuesday. I did in all my life. But so, I mean, we're very careful. We're not just out there saying, well, God's going to take care of this. We can do any, God is, called us to this, so we'll never get sick. I've heard some, there are some preachers that actually did that, and they came down, did that, had services, and everybody in the church came down with it. I just look at it this way. God is calling me to do this. Now, I can't speak for anybody in your congregation or anybody else, but I know that if God is calling me to it, then I can do it. That's it. One of the things, you're talking about fear, I'm a weenie. When I grew up, we'd go into Memphis to different places. We go to the mall, because there was nothing in Tipton County, by the way. So we go to the mall and we go to concerts at times, but I would not go downtown. I mean, I was scared to go downtown. And if I ever did, there's a place called Spaghetti Warehouse. You remember that place?
I'm not familiar.
You don't know that?
No, I don't know that place.
Anyway, that was great.
I'm bugging shit. We don't have only spaghetti I know is Chef Boyardee.
Anyway, I would I'd lock my doors, my windows be up. I was terrified. So, when I started doing this, and I found out, I just realized, hey, I'm not afraid. I knew that was God. If God was doing that to me, because even now I'm not afraid. And so if I'm not afraid of what will happen on regular times, I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. That's not to say I won't get it. Hey, if I get it, I got it. But I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to do everything I can do, but I'm still going to be the person God called me to be. And that might be for people watching this, it might be going out on the streets, but it also may not mean that, because God didn't call everybody to do that. God may be calling you to not be stupid by staying in your house, but also calling folks or doing something like that, or maybe going and visiting in a way, or going to bring people groceries in a way that you can do so safely, or whatever you're being called to do.
That's one of the things I've told one of my Bible studies before, that I'm thankful for the body of Christ, how we all have our callings. I told the story that one time I did a wedding in New Orleans, and it was Holly and the kids couldn't go down with me, so I was just in New Orleans. It was a Friday night. I thought, you know what? It's a Friday night. I want to go see what Bourbon Street's like. So I called Holly and said, hey, I'm going to walk down Bourbon Street. Just if you see it on the news, I want you to know, I'm just going to go look around and see. So I walked down and I said, no, this is not my cup of tea. I'm a Paul. It's time for me to go to bed. But I got down the end of it, and there was a guy out there with a big cross with a microphone, preaching to people. And I tell the story that when I saw him, I realized, hey, that's not my calling. I am not called to do that. That's not my calling. However, just because it's not my calling doesn't mean it's not his calling. And my calling may not be your calling, and my calling may not be his calling. And just because he's called to it doesn't mean that I'm called to it. We're not all called the same thing. Our job is to be obedient to whatever it is that God has called us specifically to do.
Amen.
And so how did you? I like what you said when you didn't have that fear, you knew it was God. How did you know that serving the least of these, like the Gospels talk about, how did you know that was your calling? How did you know that's what you were really called to do?
Well, I think I really first understood it at Katrina. You remember Roy Pearson?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We went down to Laurel where he was. Well, I guess first we just started calling to see if he would even answer, and he didn't.
Sure.
Well, finally, we got caught up, and we realized people were trying to help people in New Orleans and South Mississippi, but people not realized how far up it had gotten, and he was in
right.
and it was just torn up all through that area. And so we went down there 2 weeks in a row. We'd come back Sunday to preach, and actually at that time my parishioners was saying, or some of my parishioners were telling me they wanted me to come back. They didn't want to go back again. But, it was about time to quit doing it anyway. But what I realized in tragic times like that, and I wish there wouldn't be tragic times like that, but that time that Michelle and I went down there, we felt more alive than we ever felt before. And we realized the reason we felt alive, not happy that it happened, but alive, was because we were making more of a difference than we ever did. And we felt like that was God's calling. So obviously at that point I'm supposed to be UMCOR. Well, that didn't work out. And so when we went to Nicaragua, we felt, I was supposed to be a missionary. Well, that didn't happen. And the funny thing was we got up here, and Baker's Chapel is a smaller church. And I was supposed to help start a new church, which, long story short, fizzled after the
first. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's going to be a multicultural.
Yeah.
With a Hispanic pastor, and we could hardly communicate, and and so it didn't work. So anyway, at that time, they were both paying half my salary, so I was getting about half the salary, and I was ready. I figured, okay, well, they're going to move me somewhere. I didn't want to move away because I was home, but I just felt like I wasn't supposed to go anywhere. And I had a lady call me, and I was her daughter's pastor. I think I'd met her once. She called me and said, God put on my heart to call you, to tell you to get on your knees and start praying right now. So we live next door to a cemetery. So I went and prayed with all those people who, I knew wouldn't get
Community of the Saints, baby.
Anyway, I went and prayed, and I was praying, and the phone rang. Well, I said, gotta get rid of it. I'm praying. Leave me alone. But it kept ringing, and I said, well, maybe I'm supposed to answer. So I answered. It was my DS, and the DS told me, if you really want to stay, because I told him I was fighting with that, really want to stay, I'll get enough money for you so that your salary will at least be for an elder. So I said, that's it. I'm supposed to stay. So we did take a cut in salary, and that's not, not bragging or anything. But what we found out is nothing suffered. The bills got paid and all that kind of stuff. Another reason we know God was at work. But long story short, or short story long, I knew then, or I knew after, or I've come to find out that the reason we were supposed to do that is because of this homeless ministry. We finally found. Now, God may just choose to send me somewhere else tomorrow, but at least for right now, I always at my churches, I know that God used me. I know that, but I always felt like I wasn't really making the difference that I was supposed to. And I know I was, as much as any pastor, but I felt like there was supposed to be something more. And I think that now, I think that God's finally said, okay, this is what I've been leading you up to. So yeah, that's how I know that, and the fact that I'm not scared when I go up there.
That's awesome.
Let me tell you, can I tell you one real quick story?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about not being scared.
Yeah.
There was one night, and this was when it was the four of us, and we're in a dark area. There's this catwalk or whatever that went over the street. So I go, the other three, my wife and two people from my church, one guy and one lady. I go up there and there's nobody up there. So I come back, and as I come back, like I said, dark area, here comes this man walking towards me. He's got this big chain wrapped around his neck. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is a gang member, and his initiation is to beat the crap out of me. So I'm knocking on the window. Gary, get out of here, get out of here.
Yeah.
There's in the truck. I think he locked the door. And he comes up, and I feed him and everything. So it's good. That was the one time I was afraid. And met him the next week in another area where a lot more people, and it was lit and stuff. So I asked him why he carried that chain. He just said, I carried it in the alleyway so nobody messed with me.
There you go.
I wasn't going to mess with you.
He's probably walking down the aisle saying, oh my gosh, there's a crazy guy right there. What is he doing here? Good thing I got my chain. This guy won't mess with me.
So anyway, that was one time that I was a little bit afraid now.
Yeah.
So
I think our time's running short now, but just kind of one last thing. How have you seen God in the people that you've come to meet? I mean, in many ways, I feel like you have three congregations, the two Methodist congregations you serve, but then your downtown Memphis congregation. How have you seen our Savior in your Memphis congregation, if you will?
I've seen somebody get the last meal and somebody else come up and them give it to them, give their food away to somebody else. I've seen there was a time when this guy got a little crazy and started shouting at us, and I saw two folks that were part of our regulars get between me and that person and say, you calm down, and took them away. They're protective of me. It was just the guy, I think he was on drugs that night. We've seen him other times, but I mean, I've seen, what else have I seen? I've seen people pray. I've seen people come to me and say, I want to pray for you, or come to a group and say, can I pray for y'all? There's the homeless, there's a lot of them that are the stereotypical, and they can be jerks. They're out for themselves. They're lazy. They do whatever. But the majority of the folks we see, the reason they're homeless typically is some kind of instability, mental instability. But most of the ones we see are very appreciative, and they show that to us. And I think that's, and they talk to us and they care about us. So yeah, that's how I see.
I read an article one day about how the worst thing that poverty does is that it can strip away the humanity of those that are most poor. So, Greg, thank you for talking to me today. I'm thankful above all for your friendship. But I'm thankful for what God is doing through you. And I'll put a link to the Senatobia district, and how that, if somebody would want to make a donation to Matthew 25 Ministries, how they can do that in the description below. But I'm thankful to Greg and Michelle for their great ministry for the kingdom, for their many years of friendship to me and Holly. And thank you for being my first person, maybe my first and perhaps my only person that I'll talk to.
Yeah, you called me big, and Okay.
Exactly. This may go down like a Manimal or Airwolf in terms of great flops in human history. So that's exactly. Hey, it was fun while it lasted. Greg, thank you for your time today. Thank you for all that you do. Be safe. Give my love to your family, and I appreciate your time today.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Love you.
Take care. Love you too.
Man.